All right. Welcome to Beats, Beds, and Browns, your spot for emerging hip hop artists, garden interests from homestead to commercial, ag, bourbon, and whiskey distillers. I'm your host, Joe Skibby, and we're pleased to have made the jump to live stream interviews in our third season. This not only allows us to interview talented folks from throughout the globe, but potentially add a second season of interviews early in 2024. We're looking forward and planning that as we speak. Our focus will always be Chicagoland and the region, but there's so many talented individuals out there we can cut it up with who love music, gardening, and brown. Let's not forget our mission to distribute 100,000 seed kits, heirloom seed kits over the next 10 years. We want to introduce people to growing their own food and realizing how easy it is to get started. Whether you've got acres or just a balcony, you can start growing your own food. Get started with a free seed kit at beatsbedsbrowns.com. Tap into our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at BeatsBedsBrowns. Make sure you gently press the subscribe button on YouTube, get notified of our content releases, and please participate in the comment section throughout our content. I want to hear from you. I know Heavy does. Happy planting, and thanks to those of you joining us after the live taping. Without further ado, I'd like to bring artist, creative director, and community curator Heavy Crownz to the studio. Heavy hails from Englewood and is a visionary who plants positivity and spreads wellness through his agricultural sound, working with some of Chicago's finest artists and producers. I've witnessed the impact of his work pulling together artists from throughout the city for his performances, food justice work, and friendly hoop sessions. Heavy, welcome to the stage.
Yo.
Appreciate you joining us tonight, man. How's it going?
Man, it's going well. I can't complain. My let's just wrapped up eating a little veggie burger. Relaxing a little bit. Just got some water, so I'm chilling. I'm feeling good. How you?
Good, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. Happy Thursday. I understand. Yeah, you're always drinking water, always hydrated. I checked out a couple of your other interviews. That's always the way to go, man. Plenty of cups a day. So, these are casual. Feel free to pass, not answer any questions. We're not going to hit it too hard for you, but we ask the same question of all our interviewees when we get started. Where you at? Where you been? And where you going, man?
Where I'm at, where I've been, and where am I going? That's a good question. Where I'm at peace. Where I've been, as far as Boston to Portland. Where I'm going, the world and everywhere I'm supposed to be.
I like it. Supposed to be. You talk a lot about right place, right time, and not stressing because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Tell us what you're doing, man.
So currently, as well as being a recording artist, I'm also a director for a nonprofit in Englewood, where we have several different spaces that we steward over, and one of them being a garden. And it's been a place for me where I've been able to learn from my health and wellness coordinator, Jai there, who's taught me an immense amount about gardening over the last year and a half, 2 years. And so that's been a place to cultivate more of what I've already been rapping about. And so in greater, doing my part in Englewood to expand people's idea about what they can do with food for themselves, what it means to be able to take food from a plant to your plate, which is an actual program that we have on campus, is the Plant to Plate program where I invite people out from the community to come into the garden, learn about different foods in the garden, and then meals that they can make and dinners they can make at home. So I'm doing what I'm rapping what I'm doing.
I like it, man. Nice. And newly released album. Yeah, working with Kid Breeze. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so branched out is a tape. It's very dope. I'm super happy to been able to be a vessel for that like cool download. The whole concept was really being rooted in where you're from or your truths, your current truths, whatever that may be, in order to properly go out and expand and see the world, do different things, try different things, whatever it may be. And so that's really what the concept of branched out was, and then also branching out to the different relationships I've been building, because the tape is full of dope features. So like branching out and being expressive by collaborating with other dope artists, branching out in my relationships by on my last tape, Whole Lot of Seeds, Kid Breeze produced a couple joints on there, and even just like growing that relationship further for him to do in a full joint. So and then also a big part is my love and appreciation and for Northern California music, culture, history, and a beat selection. And so it was really important for me and Breeze to create a tape that we felt like builds a bridge of relationship, um, you know, sonically, but still making it Chicago and like branching out beyond Chicago though in that way. So yeah.
Yeah. I've read a number of your interviews, and it all makes sense now because you really do have a consistent sound throughout. It's uplifting. It's mellow. I love the lyrics. How would you describe your music to some of our listeners who may have never heard hip hop, let alone heard your work?
Yeah, so my sound is agricultural. I use beats as a landscape to plant seeds in the mind of listeners to grow over time. So what that look like is a lot of my world is a world of a garden, if you will, where when I talk about seeds, I'm talking about the smallest gestures that could change somebody's life, a compliment, a kind word, a call from somebody you ain't heard in a minute that can like bless somebody, you know what I'm saying, and take them into a new direction. And so watering relationships, you know what I'm saying, checking on your relationships,
Yeah,
giving
you
people
can
their
curate kindness just as much as you can curate a garden.
come on. And so but then also giving that metaphor, but then physically kind of overall allowing people to get more comfortable with the idea of actually growing food physically. So yeah,
Yeah,
agricultural based music for real. Yeah.
definitely. And I know there's pockets of activity, and I don't know how closely you follow or are aware of DJ Cavum. Um, I think you've worked with Boo Kepra, who we've
Yep, yep.
invited for an interview as well. We'd love to get Boo out here.
Mm-hmm.
You've worked with Kid Breeze, Joel Q, Brittany Carter. I've seen balling with Jew Gilla, one of our season one all stars. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're really a movement within the Chicago hip hop community, spreading positivity. So regardless of the lyrics and the vibes from other talent, you're there spreading this positivity and this community based mindset. Where's that all coming from?
Um, I think that is a part of my upbringings. Coming from a big family. My granddad was a leader of block club at one point. Knowing my history, a history of a people that congregate, that celebrate, that uplift and support, that connect, that exchange with each other. And so understand the need for that in community, understand the power of community, being an educator for years, um, coming
Yeah,
from
you started out as a teacher, right?
yeah, I was a
Left
teacher.
a successful career as a teacher to go on tour.
Yeah. You done your research. Yeah. Absolutely. No, for sure. And so, those things are just those are why I do it. I think just understanding from societal lens of like what creates a community, what is culture, like what that actually looks like, and want to do my part to kind of like
So how
exempt.
do you make that jump? You're getting paid, you're doing your thing. It's not your passion. Definitely, this opportunity comes to cross country tour. How do you walk away from that steady check?
It wasn't easy for sure, but it was like at that time near the end of my tenure, I just wasn't like fully being utilized in the space where I felt like I really could be. Um, and working in CPS, it comes with a lot of constraint anyway. And so I was feeling like close to a depression, but just like I remember journaling like day after day, like man, I just because what happened was, so a seed was planted in me by the Most High. What happened was, I'll give you the backstory. So in September of 2018, I had a dream that I was going on tour with some people, and I couldn't see their faces, but their energy felt really, really familiar. And so I woke up out the dream, and I kind of just was like, man, yes, like I received that, like whatever that was, like I'm with that. Like if that could be a real thing, like and not just a dream, I would take that chance. And so in January of 2019, some amazing friends of mine, the Honorable Hakim Doe, who's an amazing MC and an international DJ in Senegal right now, just tearing up the scene, planting a lot of seeds out there. And Mashawn Ali, founder and creative director for Trap House Chicago, one of the leaders of the crime drug campaign, partnering with Healthy Hood. Um, Paris Williams, sorry, creator of Moby Color, creator of Today In, a bunch of amazing men basically came to me and was like, yo, we thinking about going on tour. This is the 100-year anniversary. We actually was talking about it, but my brother Hakim really the one that led it. It was like, yo, you know that this is the 100-year anniversary of the Red Summer race riots that sparked across the nation. And then in Chicago, Eugene Williams was stoned off his boating raft by William Stopper for crossing an imaginary boarding line. It was like, yo, we think that boundaries are imaginary. And from Mashawn's restorative background, he like, yo, I feel like if we get closer to people, we'll get a chance to know them and be less likely to harm each other. So what if we all got in a van, went all these places across America using our network, do these pop-up activations where we whole circle. Paris has the coloring theme, adult coloring theme books about the Red Summer race riots. And then we end off with some rap from me and my brother Hakim Doe. And we did that in 27 different cities across America. Man. We got about 3 episodes of a docuseries about it on YouTube, like 2.5. But yeah, so when I got that opportunity, I was just like, yo, this is what I dreamed about. I gotta do it. Like I feel like at this point in my life, if I don't do this, I'll regret it forever. And at that point, I was rapping about, people that want to be their best self, and I was already on this path. So I was like, man, this is my chance to really like walk in what I'm not happy here. It's people I really trust. It's something I really am passionate about, history and music. Like I gotta go for it.
How were those pop-ups received? Was it
man, it was amazing. Super intimate. Yeah. Like, man, it was amazing. It would be like, yo, we going into the city and we like using our homie spots, or like DMing people that know another person, letting us use their community center in the South Bronx. That's like,
so it's all organic, all your contacts, getting people out.
Absolutely.
Teaching people, because, this is one of the things, we interviewed J Love Raps. We didn't even know about Black Wall Street and the Oklahoma City massacre. We knew about the Red Riots, and, just teaching and learning and not only, just educating people, right? So like you said, we don't go around hurting each other continually.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was amazing. Like you going like 10, 15 people in the room, like organic conversation, super intimate, dope raps. Like, yeah, it was really an amazing and pivotal point in my life. Like,
so you come back from that. Is that when you got involved with Imagine Englewood If, or is
no? Imagine Englewood If comes way later. Yo, that's funny. Nah. So 2019, I come back July, um, and I didn't have a job, and I had to figure it out. And
And what music professionally, like, were you working the streaming set? Were you doing live performances? Were you building your music following at this point?
yeah, so I was already was building my music following, and I was having like smaller shows in a couple different places. I was co-hosting an open mic for other artists, so building my fan base by in like pure relationship, and then I freestyle in between segments. I will perform sometimes my own joint, so building my fan base in that way as well. Shout out to my brother Boo Man Forever, who's another dope artist who put that whole Chicago Smash open mic together at the time. And so I was doing that, and I was working odd jobs. Like I was working all these smaller odd jobs. I was also working for my uncle who has an amazing restaurant called What a Jerk. At the time, we were there in Ukrainian Village on Damon and Wood, I think. Division and Damon.
Okay.
And so I was working for him part time, doing a bunch of other odd jobs, and yeah, and rapping, just making music. I dropped a tape that year, Agrikwan. Nope, I didn't. I dropped the 3-piece set, Finding the Finding series, Finding Flowers, Finding Truth, and Finding Heaven in that time period, around that time period, right before the pandemic. And then at the top of 2020, my brother Mashawn Ali asked me to come into Trap Out Chicago with him and manage the space as he was the visionary, and I was kind of like managing the spot. And we had a space on 79th and College. And if you look hard enough on Trap Out Chicago page and just around, you'll like we was doing a lot of amazing work through streetwear and restorative justice, hosting peace circles with people in the community. Man, seeing the impact of people growing, cleaning the front of their stores. We had people that people would deem as violent people, changing their lives and their habits, eating healthier. We were doing big community efforts during the riots when the pandemic was happening, giving out food, clothes, hosting super dope events, shows, curated art exhibits. We transformed the space at will, painting it, remove different things, situate, build walls. It was a very living, active space. And so I was doing that from 2020 to 2022. And then I really had a desire to really get back in my own neighborhood. That was in Chatham, but I'm from Englewood. And I always kind of had a desire, like, yo, I want to be doing this work in Englewood. Like, this is amazing to be doing it on the South Side, period. But just like, I want to do it in Englewood. And so I went to the grand opening of the Fresh Market, Go Green Fresh Market, by the good people at Eman on 63rd and Racine. And I met my executive director, the amazing Michelle Shy, there. And we kicked it off. They brought me in for an interview. I just like told them my desires, my background. I was an MC as well. And that was like one of the things that they love. And so brought me on, and it's been about 2 years now. So yeah,
Imagine, man. What if you're still in the classroom? All these impacts,
man,
not
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah, kudos to you for making the jump, man. I know that had to be a tough decision.
it was. And if you listen to Agrikwan Set Volume 1 and the Finest series, you'll hear me rapping about, especially on Agrikwan Set Volume 1, like you hear like,
Yeah, I remember walking away from a 50K payday. I remember that. Yeah.
yeah.
um,
Yeah, you
so
did your
you brought up
research.
was that?
You did your research. That's dope.
Nah, no, it ain't research, man. I just listen to stuff I dig, and then I get deep.
Come on.
um,
Come on.
so you mentioned Agrikwan, and there was a big show in Promontory. Again, I hadn't
Yeah.
found you yet, but I heard you sold out Promontory, and you had a whole community thing going there. You tell me about that show.
Man, that was crazy. Um, Talking about like planting seeds. I'm big on like relationship building, and I think that like I had I already was like making my presence known on the scene prior to the pandemic, but during the pandemic, I had this thing where I was like doing what I called the appreciation series, where I was like getting on Zoom with people, or like on what was I doing on? Was it Zoom? No. It was going on live on Instagram with people that I just appreciated. I had made a list of like 30 to 60 names of people in the scene that I may not even know directly, but I like seen them from afar, or I may have direct known them, but I never really gave them their flowers. And I would get on IG Live with them, and I would just like ask some questions, and they just like give them their flowers and tell them like why I appreciate them. And I think that energy may have even like permeated, you know, over just planting those seeds. And when I announced the show, like fresh out the pandemic, I did it with people I respect, people I've been building with, Brittany Carter, Joel Q, Boo Man, Mother Nature was on that show. And so
And was this pre Great Thinkers or?
yeah, I actually wasn't even a thinker yet. I was building with them though at that time. Like we was around like
So then you
building.
guys realized the parallel paths and
Yeah.
work together.
Yeah. And so that show was like a beautiful time. Like so many farmers out, man. The community was beautiful. It was crazy. Like, yeah, it was one of those, man, like dang, you had to be there. It was like I had to shovel on stage. It was real dirty up in there, man. It was dope.
Nice. So you're talking about the energy a live audience brings. Uh, we hear from most of the people we interview, the artists, that there's nothing that can match that live environment. Um, are you a live musician, studio musician? I know you've got some freestyle chops. I've seen it. What do you prefer?
Definitely live.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy the studio vibe for sure, but like being able to connect and transfer that energy is like that's where it's at. That's the goal.
So you've got your music. I know you're a designer. You've got garden supply, creative director. I know you guys have coordinated events. What's your favorite outlet when creating?
Definitely music. Like definitely the music scene, like the music portion of it, being able to touch people. Being able to connect with people over beats right now. Later maybe it may evolve. I might want to just like speaking and lecturing or just straight farming. Or but yeah, like right now, like music is that's where it's at for me right now, for sure, for sure. Music and gardening and like really like making that like what people are doing more. Those are like those are my best outlets to express like
I
right now.
mean, you talk about bringing people together. You got food, you got music. It's incredible. So I've seen some of your Instagram stuff. You're actually getting your hands dirty, man. Talk to me about your farming experience and what you grow and what you like to grow.
So at first, it was all metaphorical for me in the earlier stages. But I felt like no, I really got to get into this. So when my health and wellness coordinator Jack came on board, I really was like, "Yo, can you teach me? Like, just teach me. Like, we got the garden right here. Like, we work here. Like." And so she began to really teach me, about what it means, like what it looks like to actually plant seeds, to maintain a garden, pruning, and what I'm saying, planting what next to what, uh, and I'm still learning. I am not by any means an expert yet, but yeah, like in our garden right now, we got chard, kale, some raspberries, peppers.
Nice.
Uh, we had some watermelon. Um, what else we got? This is some mint. We had some squash. We just harvested the last squash and zucchini not too long ago. So
Nice. How big's the bed you're growing in, or is it multiple? Because I know you have community
multiple
garden.
beds.
Yeah.
Definitely we got about 10 beds, about 12 beds, like 12 beds.
Nice. Actually, let us know any way that we can help in that regard. Seeds, seedlings, We're actually going to launch an initiative next year that anybody who buys a plant from us, a plant gets donated to a community garden. So if you guys need additional resources, by all means, let us know. If you're set, if there's any other way we can help, keep us in mind, man. We love to, it's my escape from reality, from the rough day, from whatever you call it. I go out there and whether it's rubbing mint between my fingers or finding the little insects and the environments created from within the garden, that's my jam. So let me know.
I know
I'm kicking. What's that?
I know the vibe. It's very therapeutic. Garden is just like, it's so serene.
And it's just a part of your wellness routine, right? Because I mean, you're doing the water. Are you vegan or
flexitarian? So I was vegan for quite some time. I still don't eat meat, but I do eat fish from time to time. Yeah. But for the most part, anytime there's a vegan or vegetarian option, I'm going to choose that.
People don't know what they're missing, man. Shit tastes good, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You get into the mushroom yet?
Like,
lion's mane, the steak and whatnot. We interviewed Johnny from Windy City Mushroom, man. We need to hook up.
You know Johnny?
Yeah.
I know. And like Southwest, right?
He's owner of Windy City Mushroom, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and they like got the big warehouse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually got some mushroom from Johnny not too long ago. Actually,
we interviewed him 2 weeks ago, man.
Dang, man, I need to connect back. I got to connect back with him because I even was having an idea like I might need to shoot a music video in that space. Like,
man, I better get an invite to that thing. I'll reconnect you to
it. Yeah.
Wow. So, obviously we're always tuned into headlines, et cetera. You got Juicy J talking about 40% decline in hip hop sales. Talk to me about what you think is going on with the general hip hop environment and how that can be countered by positivity like you're bringing.
I think that I'll be in my own garden for real, bro. Like I've seen those posts. But like, I already felt like that's what was going on. Like, the quality of mainstream rap was depreciating. And what I think, like, I don't know because how streaming is. Are we gonna like continue to have like mega star people? Like maybe but like. Maybe not. I think that there's so many like small niche sectors and opportunities for like people to cultivate real like fan bases where I think if you are a positive artist, but you also are able to be versatile in your music so you can network and do songs with like reggaeton artists or like piano artists and all type of international artists, or you able to like branch out if you are able to like strategically still tap into those mainstream markets, but like lean more heavily on like a core fan base. I think that's what some of these more positive artists like such myself aim to do. I can't even say how concerned I am because like I don't think it's ever gonna really go where like hip hop is not gonna be like moving people.
Right.
Like what they're talking about is a different metric that I don't fully rely on the quality of hip hop's life to be depending on, if that makes sense. Like
absolutely. I mean, not only is that why we focus on emerging artists because there's so much talent out there, but B, with tools like social media, like TikTok, there's talent that we would never have had exposure to that we're now able to connect with and interview and network and see where we overlap. And I think, the community-based model is where things are going because so many people are disconnected from that large pop culture mainstream piece.
Absolutely.
So we like to do this. We got, how much time you got, right? Because I'm going to run through your discography and just, give me a description because I know it's been a journey. But as I listen to some of your early stuff, as I listen to some of your later stuff, there's absolute consistency. And flow and vibe, and it evolves and matures. And I feel like you're more confident in your most recent lyrics. You've got like the time to let it simmer, whereas before you were, rushed to get the words out. You know what I mean? So if we can go backwards, maybe starting with "The World Is Heavy," and tell me, what's your description of your snapshot in time at your point in the point in your career when you released "The World Is Heavy"? Where were you at?
I was confident that I knew what I wanted to do with rap. I was confident that I wanted to like create something that was like people could feel good and move to, but also like get messages off around. Um, I felt confident. I felt confident. I felt like,
Yeah, I like it.
yeah, I'm gonna do like I got something I'm working with, and like, yeah, like yeah.
How
Also,
about the Finding series, Finding Truth, or Finding Flowers, Finding Truth, and Finding Heaven?
very pivotal times in my life for real. It was around the time I had quit teaching. Um, I had ended an engagement. I was engaged in 2018, and I was just like, man, I need finding flowers. I was like, yo, I need to like shift my mindset. I was studying a couple different things at the time, um, Taoism, uh, a pastor that had a book called Train Your Brain, um, a couple different things, and I was like, like yo, I need to find a perspective that serves me. Like I need to find the flowers in this time. And then like from there it was also like I need to like not only find the perspectives but like root myself in like whatever truths that really is gonna serve me to like really be like who I need to be. So finding truth was that, and then finding heaven was like, yo, none of this really work if I ain't connected to the Most High. And at that time, I wasn't even like, because now I don't really like identify as like a Christian, but I do like really like reverence like what Yahshua stands for, like in a lot of like myriad of ways. But like, and now I'm like super open and study a lot of different thought houses. But back then I didn't. But like in my at that time, it was about like, yo, I need to get closer to God and like really like prioritize the spiritual. Like I need to like prioritize the spiritual um
And
part.
placing others in front of the individual, right? And
Yeah,
this
yeah, and
community.
like really like yo, my connection to the Most High, making sure I'm aligned that so I'm doing this music for the right reasons, like like making sure that like when I move, God is moving, and like it's not a separate thing. So that was like my time then when I was like, man, I need to just find my truths, find the perspectives, and like make sure I'm tapped in with the Most High as I'm about to do these things. Like
Yeah. And how about Agrikwan 1 and 2?
that was like, man. After I like went because on that Finding Heaven series, when you talk about like I was talking about getting close to God, I was fasting. I was really like isolating myself from a lot of things, like I was in the soil, like what I call the soil. Like I was like I didn't have a TV, I was in a crib. Me and my homie Hakim, he had let me crash there after my engagement. I was living in Barnesville at his place, and it was like a creative incubator space. We was making music all day. He don't drink, smoke, nothing. So like, um, I was definitely fasting from smoking at different times, Walter Bam, and just reading, studying all type of stuff. Hebrew is like supreme mathematics, like the Quran, just thought practices like Taoism, heavy on the Tao. And so like I was like going in the soil. And then Agrikwan was like, once I read this one particular book about grace from this pastor, this Asian pastor named Joseph Prince, and the book was talking about like grace. You don't gotta work to be who you're gonna be. Like a seed just grows. Like it don't like overthink the growth. Like it just becomes the tree. Like you're gonna be who you got. And then it was like a light went off, and I was like, yo, like I'm a seed. Like I'm still growing. I'm gonna give myself grace through this whole journey because like I'm really just growing, and like also like I plant seeds in other people, and like if I just stay with these practices, I'm like watering myself, and it just started. And I was like, yo, what type of music do I want to make? And I was like, man, I want to make agricultural music. I want to make music that like people grow to. Like I want to make music where people like think about like just being their best self, whatever that is, and like trying their best, but like taking it easy on themselves too, like about
Man,
it.
I love it. I mean, I've been heavy into the gardening and heavy into like networking, what I call, to be able to connect to food systems and food justice out in the region that I'm in. I never like overlaid them together, right? So I mean, it's just makes natural sense to consider every relationship like a seed that needs to be nurtured and watered and kept in sun, and nothing's going to grow if you don't nurture it.
Yeah.
It really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So once it clicked for me, I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And so Agrikwan was a word I made up. Quan is like represents four principles: um, love, um, honor, money, and community. And so for me, I was like, man, I embody those things. And agriculture, like coming at it with an angle of like an agricultural base. And so Agrikwan was how that concept came about. And it was the very first seeds of me like rebranding, but a deeper understanding of myself, and how I want to communicate to others was that.
And then we got this whole lot of seeds next.
No, so Agrikwan set volume one was with my brother Hop. Then he was named Des Linsky, but
Hop was
now,
here.
yeah, Hop was here, who's an amazing producer. But me and him go way back, and so coming into this new understanding, he was someone that watered me and would randomly text me like, "Yo, bro, man, you cold, bro. Like you like, bro, you man, you da 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 da." And I'm like, man, dang. So I built with him intentionally when we dropped that. And then Agrikwan 7 Volume 2, just going deeper into the bag of it. Like it was really capturing that moment of like me being at Trap House and working at Trap House and like having volunteers and
Did
community.
that give you exposure to a lot of up and coming artists and creative
Absolutely.
flow?
Yeah, and it allowed me to be in a space where I was creating space for those artists because I managed that space. So
Yeah.
I was curating shows. I'm bringing people out. I'm da da da. And so like yeah, it was really like it was an amazing time. So that was like a snapshot of that time at Trap House. And then Whole Lot of Seeds is when we like
Is Trap House, is that at Five Corners?
no. So Trap House Chicago now has moved from 79th and Cottage and now in Pilsen on 22nd and Damon,
Okay.
East Side Healthier. And then also we got another location we built now out west on Madison and Pulaski.
Okay.
Yeah. So from then Whole Lot of Seeds, and which was like, man, I was started really like from the relationships I was building, the music I was making. I was realizing like, man, I'm making a lot of relationships. I'm planting a lot of seeds. Like I'm really like getting it on right now. Like, dang, I feel good. Like I'm really like him. I feel like I'm like growing in my bag a little. Like, and I'm like, I bet like it's a whole lot of seeds going on. Like there's a lot of good going on. Like I'm gonna just snapshot this. So that's what that was.
Do you ever feel like you're spread too thin with all the different pathways? And I mean, you can definitely plant too many seeds that you don't want to water and that you
Definitely
don't want
felt
to
like
tend
that
to.
at times, like man, but that's why rest is super important as well. And then learning like when knowing seasons of a thing.
Yeah,
So in different times where you should be like doing more or less of a thing. So like that helps with the balance.
absolutely. And then is that branched outs next?
Yep. And then really like, yo, like
And that was like last week, right?
mhm. So in that space, and now man is like, yo, uh, I want to get back to skating more, practicing martial arts, continue to read different books, go different places. build even more relationships, like really go further and connect further and expand and like see more and travel more, be in nature more, garden more. So like really like we rooted now, like we know what we at. So let's like really like begin to like branch out.
So what's next after branch out?
2024, I'm gonna really like continue to branch out. And I'm planning to release a lot of singles, features, and just have fun, really like just freely, like just giving it to the people. I think that's
we referenced the show at Promontory. I know you were also at the Museum of Contemporary Art. There's half a dozen or more, it seemed, festivals this summer. I wasn't able to catch you live. I caught you at the Jeff Koons art show and said hello briefly. But when's the next live show, man? When can we count on some live heavy?
Man, so I'll be at I have my listening party for Branched Out. Going to be at Miyagi Records on 55th Garfield in Chicago by the Green Line. I don't got the exact address, but yeah, it's right in between 55th and King Drive and 55th and like Indiana. Really dope record shop. Might be planning a show, a bigger show in 2024, but also I got a set coming up. GQ, the teacher, one of the OGs on the music scene, he's putting together a show on November 5th, so that's gonna be dope.
Nice. Yeah, I met him at the Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum. He's a legend of the game, literally.
Yeah,
in every sense of the word. So that's what you got coming up. Then typically we'll run through hard hitters and wig splitters if you're ready. It's a this, that, yes, no quiz style, quick answer.
Okay.
We'll jump in. All right, we're here with Heavy Crownz for hard hitters and wig splitters. This, that, yes or no, quick quiz style answers. Don't think too hard on these, Heavy.
Okay.
Beef or no beef?
No beef.
No beef. I like it. Cash or Queens?
Cash.
Cash. Big black truck or 6'4"?
6'4".
Edibles or flour?
Flour.
Nice. That 6'4" is that West Coast reference. I like it. Yeah. Jay-Z or Drake?
Jay-Z.
So we're in Indiana, so we got to ask Bears or Colts?
Bears.
Yeah, I'm a diehard Bears fan too. In Northwest Indiana. How about Cubs or Sox?
Sox.
Sox. Yeah. Is a hot dog a sandwich? It's deep, man. Don't get it wrong.
No.
No, a hot dog's not a sandwich. You're taking a stand.
That's hilarious.
All right. Now, ketchup or no ketchup?
Ketchup.
Ketchup. Hot or mild?
Mild.
Mild. Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
Absolutely. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Marvel.
But I got love for DC too, though. I got love for DC too.
Superman fan?
Batman.
Batman. There you go. Yeah. Vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
All right. He survived the gauntlet. He survived hard hitters and wig splitters. Thank you so much, Heavy Crownz. We appreciate you being here with us. We're going to take you out of studio. We're going to close out the show, and then hopefully you and I can cut it up afterwards. We'll talk metaverse concert potential. We'll talk a couple other connections. If you give me just a couple minutes, I'll wrap, and we'll cut it up, man. I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Well, man, peace.
All right. Tune in next week when we interview Farm Her Carmen of Oasis Botanic Garden, Thursday, 10/19 at 7 p.m. Central. We'll dig into Carmen's Oasis Botanic Garden, a safe, natural space where all of the plants on site are edible. Carmen's passion to educate people about gardening, wellness, and edible plants is infectious, and we look forward to chatting with her. Let's not forget our mission to distribute 100,000 heirloom seed kits over the next 10 years. We want to introduce people to growing their own food and realizing how easy it is to get started. Whether you've got acres or just a balcony, you can start growing your own food. Get your free seed kit at beetsbedsbrowns.com. You can choose currently from dill, pumpkin, or acorn squash. And always tap into our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at beetsbedsbrowns. Make sure you gently press the subscribe button on YouTube to get notified of our content releases. And please participate in the comment section throughout our content. We want to hear from you. Thank you guys, and happy planting.